In the long river of history, Napoleon Bonaparte shines like a brilliant yet controversial star in the European sky from the late 18th century to the early 19th century. His life is full of grandeur and upheaval. He built a vast French empire. His name is closely linked both to glorious military victories and to numerous controversial political measures. People's evaluation of him has always hovered between the two distinct labels of dictator and great reformer. Today, let us explore the merits and demerits of this legendary figure together and try to uncover the truth behind this controversy. Napoleon was born into a small noble family on Corsica. He showed extraordinary military talent and a strong enterprising spirit from an early age. When the wave of the French Revolution was surging, he keenly seized the opportunity, and with his exceptional military command skills, he emerged in battles like the Siege of Toulon and began to gain a firm foothold on France's military and political stage. What truly brought him to the pinnacle of power was the coup of 18 Brumaire. In the situation of internal and external troubles and political unrest in France at that time, Napoleon actually took control of France's supreme power through this coup and thus began his reign that profoundly influenced the fate of France and even the entire Europe. From the perspective of a great reformer, Napoleon's contributions are multifaceted and extremely far-reaching. First and foremost is the landmark Napoleonic Code. This code, in the form of legal provisions, established a series of bourgeois civil law principles, such as emphasizing the inviolability of private property, stipulating equality before the law for all citizens, and guaranteeing freedom of contract. Its emergence completely changed France's chaotic and outdated legal system at that time, laying a solid legal foundation for the stable and orderly development of French society. Moreover, the Napoleonic Code spread to many European countries and regions along with Napoleon's military expansion, becoming an important blueprint for many countries in formulating their laws in the future, leaving a profound mark in the history of world legal development and effectively promoting the spread and development of modern capitalist legal concepts. In terms of education, Napoleon also took positive actions. He attached importance to the popularization and improvement of national education and vigorously established various schools, such as public secondary schools, cultivating a large number of knowledgeable and educated talents and reserving intellectual resources for France's long-term development. These schools broke the previous monopoly of education resources by the nobility, allowing more children of ordinary people to have the opportunity to receive systematic education, improving France's overall cultural quality to a certain extent, and creating favorable conditions for the progress of France's subsequent science, technology, culture, and other fields. Economically, Napoleon adopted a series of measures to promote France's prosperity. He actively promoted domestic infrastructure construction, building numerous roads, bridges, and other transportation facilities, strengthening connections between different domestic regions, facilitating trade, and promoting the circulation of goods and economic vitality. At the same time, he also gradually stabilized France's fiscal situation through means such as reforming the tax system, providing strong financial support for the country's various constructions and developments. In the military field, Napoleon's achievements are even more extraordinary throughout history. With his superb military command art, he led the French army to achieve victory after victory on the European battlefield, repeatedly defeating the coalition forces against France. His military victories not only defended the achievements of the French Revolution, elevating France's status on the European continent to an unprecedented height, but also to a certain extent spread the ideas of liberty, equality, and fraternity advocated by the French Revolution, making these progressive ideas take root in other European countries, inspiring local people's resistance to the old system and yearning for a new society. In this sense, Napoleon can be said to be a disseminator of revolutionary ideas, promoting the entire European society's march towards modernization. However, the view that defines Napoleon as a dictator is not groundless. After the coup of 18 Brumaire, although Napoleon did not directly claim the imperial title, he actually held absolute power in France. He continuously strengthened the centralization of power, and almost all major decisions were made by him alone. When he finally crowned himself emperor and established the First French Empire, this characteristic of centralization became even more obvious. He highly concentrated power in his own hands, controlled various government departments by appointing confidants and other means, suppressed the power of parliamentary and other democratic institutions, causing some democratic systems established in France after the Revolution to be destroyed and the political democracy to be greatly reduced. In terms of foreign affairs, although Napoleon's military expansion was under the banner of spreading revolutionary ideas, it is undeniable that it also brought heavy disasters to the people in many conquered regions. Wars caused a large number of casualties. Countless families were torn apart. The economy of conquered regions was severely damaged. Local cultures and traditions were to a certain extent suppressed by French rule, and people were forced to accept French management models and cultural concepts. This aroused strong dissatisfaction and resistance from the people in many conquered countries and regions. From this perspective, Napoleon's military hegemonic behavior had the arbitrariness and tyranny of a dictator. Moreover, during his reign, Napoleon strictly controlled domestic public opinion to maintain his ruling position. He suppressed voices against him, restricted press freedom, making it difficult for people to freely express their views and ideas. This ran counter to the concepts of liberty and democracy and became an important basis for people to criticize his dictatorship. Comprehensively speaking, Napoleon is an extremely complex historical figure who cannot be simply defined by a single label such as dictator or great reformer. The historical background he was in determined that he needed to take strong measures to stabilize France's domestic situation and consolidate revolutionary achievements in that turbulent Europe. Only strong centralization of power and strong military strength might allow France to survive and develop amid numerous surrounding enemies. His reform measures, whether in the fields of law, education, or economy, have truly promoted the modernization process of France and Europe, leaving an indelible positive impact on future generations. But at the same time, in the process of pursuing power and maintaining his rule, he did have many behaviors that violated democratic principles and harmed the interests of people in other countries. These behaviors also had obvious dictatorial characteristics. Perhaps we should view Napoleon from a more objective and comprehensive perspective, acknowledge his historical achievements, and face his faults, learn lessons from his life trajectory to better understand the complexity of historical development and the twists and turns in the process of human social transformation. After all, historical figures always write their own legends under specific historical backgrounds, and their evaluations should be based on objective and dialectical thinking.